thermal sound wave.
Thermal sound waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio.
Hey!
Email us thermalsoundwaves@gmail.com. Of course. We have a guest on the line right now. So without further ado, let's get to him. Let's talk to him. He's done a lot of things on the scribe tip, on the writing tip, on the production tip. And when we say production, we don't mean music. We're talking about shows, television, film, theater, all those type of venues and all those type of particular lanes we are talking about that this brother has done, man. How are you doing, Mr. Mike Ajakwe?
I'm doing great, man.
He got it right, too. You got it right, see?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. I'm impressed.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Most people mess it up, at least the first time.
Well, I got to big up my peoples, you know what I'm saying? The Africans, you know what I mean? Nigerians.
What up, Nigerians? What's good? Nigerian Ghana, what up? Black Star.
That's how it gets down. Oh, and big up to the brother, I'm forgetting his name right now, that did the film Black Gold. Great film.
Oh, wow.
About oil and the effects of Nigeria with the big oil companies and whatnot. True story. So big ups to him. I'm going to get his name in a minute. I'm forgetting his name, but the movie he did, Black Gold, was phenomenal. Great movie. But we're going to talk about this brother right now, or talk to him, I should say, because he's done phenomenal things as well for a long time. But, I'm going to step back and let people know exactly what you've done, sir.
I guess about myself. It's kind of tacky to talk about yourself, but
who wants to say it better than you?
I've been in the business for a while. Been blessed to be in the writing and producing for about 20 years, and across a variety of different medium, TV and within television, entertainment news, documentary series. I've worked for Entertainment Tonight. As a producer, I'm currently producer on Unsung for TV One.
Great series. That's a great series. Oh, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I did the Denise Williams piece that led off season 4 last month, and I'm currently doing a documentary on Ray Parker Jr. that's going to air in October.
Ghostbusters. Who
are you going to call?
Wow.
Because those are the greatest 4 words in his life. So
yeah.
Ray has an amazing story, just like Denise had a phenomenal, very inspiring story. What I love about both of their stories is they're very inspiring. Not just not just the biography, but their journeys are very inspiring. It's almost like God intended for them to have the success that they had, and very deserving. And also I've written sitcoms. I've written for Martin, the Martin Show, original Martin sitcom, Sister, Moesha the Parkers, Soul Food, which was a drama, and Eve. I wrote on Eve as well as producer on that show too. And
that's with Mona Scott too, also, correct?
That was with Eve, the rapper, Eve Jeffries.
I'm talking about as far as production. Is that Mona Scott as well? For Mona?
Yeah, was Mona. I think Mona was there. I know. Meg Deloach was the creator of the show, and what is this brother? How can I forget his name? Carter. He manages Lady Gaga right now. God, how can I forget his name? That is crazy. He was his manager. They're gonna kill me if they hear this show. This is terrible.
It's all right. They love you in spirit. It was good. You said Carter.
But Eve's manager, who was from Philly, a really nice guy. He's such a nice guy. I can't remember his name. I know his last name is Carter, and he now manages Lady Gaga, and he's her manager. So it'll come to me before the show's out. But anyway, so I was blessed to work on that show. So, and then theater. I've done a lot of theater. I've done plays with Hill Harper, Niecy Nash, Monique,
wow,
Glynn Turman, Wendy Raquel Robinson, James Pickens from Grey's Anatomy.
Now hold on. Hill Harper, he was also on CSI.
Yeah, he's on CSI, but he did a play for me before anybody knew who he was. He was not famous. Niecy Nash was not even famous. She was not even in my show. Just to show you how unfamous Niecy was our stage manager. She was not even in the show. She got in the show.
And then she went on to be on the Reno 911, correct?
Reno 911. She's done a bunch of things, bunch of movies. And,
yeah. She was the black cop.
Dance with the
nice
Stars.
thick
She
woman.
was on Dance with the Stars and The Insider. She's very, very talented.
Yeah.
And Gary Sturgis, who's done a lot of stuff with Tyler Perry, he was also in one of my shows. I've just been really blessed to work with a lot of talented people on stage who've gone on to do great things. Some of them are already doing great things, but Tatyana Ali, I'm a writer right now for her sitcom called Love That Girl.
Love That Girl.
That comes on TV One. And but we did a play together 7 years ago, coincidentally. And the play was a musical around the music of Denise Williams.
Wow.
So you just never know. Who knew that 7 years later I would do a documentary on Denise's life, and I would be writing on a sitcom for Tatyana.
Exactly. It's Thermal Soundwaves.
Wow.
Call us up, 212-491-4685. We are talking to none other than Mr. Mike Ajakwe here on the program. Emmy-winning. Award-winning for what he has done. And let everybody know how you actually got into the business and where you came up from. Inglewood,
that's right. I'm from Los Angeles, but I went to school in Inglewood. Inglewood was, literally not even a mile from where I grew up. And so I went to school in Inglewood and from L.A., and my parents are from Nigeria. And when I was 14, my family sold the house, sold everything, and moved back to Africa. They say take your black ass back
they went
to
back
Africa.
to Africa.
Well, we really did. When they say you need to take your ass back to Africa, we did. We went back to Africa, but we had never lived there. We had visited once, me and my brothers and sisters, and we went there, and I was there for about 2.5 years. And I went to high school, finished high school there actually, and then came back out here.
What made you come back to America?
For college, come back out for college. I knew I was going to come back for college because I knew I was interested in writing or being a lawyer, one of those two. But the plan was always to come back after high school, and we all eventually came back one by one. And so, but my parents remained in Africa, so I went to the University of Redlands, a very small private college. Got a scholarship to go there for college, and while I was there, I took a screenwriting class, and I was very interested in the medium. And then I did an internship while I was there on a show called Cheers, which was created by two of the alumni. They're brothers, the Charles brothers. They created the show.
Cheers was with Ted Danson.
George Wendt.
Danny DeVille's wife.
Yes.
Rhea Perlman.
Rhea Perlman,
Classic
exactly.
show.
Great show. I was there season 5, and I was only supposed to be there for a month, and I stayed for 7 months.
Wow.
And was not paid. I had to drive 90 miles each way, 3 days a week. But I was soaking up so much knowledge. I felt like I was learning more than I was just learning so much, and I had a chance to be exposed to the writers and stuff that money can't buy. And so I knew when I finished that internship that I did not want to be a lawyer, that I wanted to try to be a writer, even though I didn't know any writers that looked like me. I didn't know any black writers at the time. But I just knew that what they were doing was something that I wanted to do. It looked like fun. These people were paid a lot of money to come to work every day and tell stories and make people laugh. So one of the writers was kind enough to mentor me when I was there. She read something I wrote. She really thought that I had the ability to become a professional television writer, and told me that she would help me. If I came out, that she would help me out. And I had been offered a job. I had written an article on a young man that was autistic, and we all wrote these articles, and they submitted them in the class, and an editor for a local paper, the Riverside Press Enterprise, they read all the stories, and they chose mine. They published it on the front page, and then later on they said, hey, there's a job opportunity, and we'd like to consider you. And my mentor and professor, Bruce McAllister, who's a sci-fi writer, very famous sci-fi writer, he told me to go for the Hollywood thing. He said, you can always come back here and write for a newspaper. Why don't you should go for that opportunity in L.A. and see if you can do that. And so I did. I didn't pursue the opportunity at the Press Enterprise, one of the bureaus, and I put all my stuff in my little Chevy Sprint, and I drove back to L.A., and the producer that said she was going to help me disappeared. Couldn't get her on the phone. Just wasn't very friendly, but it was cool. Sometimes people are putting your life to, kind of. If she hadn't said come to L.A., I probably would have taken the safe route and taken that job at the newspaper. But she's the one that inspired me, so I kind of forgave her for that, and I trusted God. And 8 years later, I finally got a job on the show, which was the Martin Show. Wow. And I've been writing ever since. I've been making a living as a writer ever since.
What was your favorite Martin episode that you wrote for?
My favorite Martin episode was the episode called that I wrote was the one called it's two. It's the one that they did called Romeo and Juliet, where Gina's in his play Romeo and Juliet. Martin doesn't like the director.
Yes.
He didn't want to play Romeo, so he played Romeo. Yeah.
He played So then the director gets hurt, and then Martin winds up playing Romeo. That was great because I was able to use my theater background to do that episode. But the most special episode is the first episode I wrote, which was called Cole on Ice, where Cole gets fired for being in Martin's show. And so Martin gives him a job in the studio, and he winds up chasing off Charles Barkley. And they don't have a guest. and then Tracy Morgan they call Tracy Morgan, he brings a little Chihuahua ice pick.
Oh, yeah.
The racket Chihuahua.
That's what Tracy Morgan was fat.
Yeah, that was my first episode, and that was special because that's when no one knew who Tracy Morgan was. He was unknown.
Yeah.
But I'm also in that episode. I'm right after the commercial, I'm the security guard that found Cole in the bathroom. Martin waited till the day before the taping, and he asked me to play the security guard. So that's the first and last time you'll ever see me on screen.
So we got to look for you. Okay. Cole on
man.
ice.
I got to watch that again. I've seen that episode a number of times.
I'm the security guard. Right after, when Martin chases him out, it goes to commercial. When it comes back, I'm the guy holding the security. I'm the guy holding Cole.
Wow. Okay. No doubt.
That was real special.
It's Thermal Soundwaves. We're talking to Mr. Mike Ajakwe right about now. Of course, screenwriter, writer, producer, and so forth. What was it about being in front of the camera that you did not like? That where you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna write. I'm not gonna do this thing.
I'm not an actor. First of all, I have a lot of respect for actors, especially the good ones. And it's hard enough trying to be a good writer and good producer and a good director. It's just difficult enough. I don't need to add acting to that. I'd rather hire a talented person and let them make me look good by saying my words. And so I've never wanted to be an actor. I don't need to make a Hitchcock moment where I'm in the piece. I just want to write something that an actor can really get into and make it, and we can both look good, that kind of thing. So
now, you also like one of the first black people of the 21st century to be a part of something, correct?
Yeah, I'm a playwright as well, and my play, Company Policy, was published in 2000, and it was the first play of the new century by a black playwright published in the 21st century, which is a new millennium.
Wow.
So that made me the first black playwright published in the new millennium. So that was something that we found out later on. It was kind of special. I was like, wow, that's cool.
Nice. That's
cool,
lovely.
So.
And
I've had 4 plays. 4 of my plays are published in the bookstore, Samuel French bookstore,
nice.
and all over the world. So,
what are the name of the 4 plays?
Company Policy is one. The other play is called The Ride, and there's another play called Happy Anniversary Punk, and there's another play called Double or Nothing.
Happy Anniversary Punk. What is that about?
That's about violence in the black community. It's about a kid that gets killed after school by another kid, and he gets off if he even gets caught. But this kid gets off, and on the 1-year anniversary of his death, the father of the dead kid, who's a mailman, he goes to the home of the kid that killed his kid to kill that kid to get revenge on his son's death.
Now, what's crazy about that is that you was also given your first film to write for in 2002 by Brett Ratner.
Yeah, it was Brett Ratner's company. It was called Crip. Russell Simmons was a producer on it. It's the story of Mike Concepcion, who's one of the founders of the Crip Street Gang. And I spent 18 months working with Mike and those guys on the project. It's a wonderful story. Unfortunately, the studio, which was called Lionsgate bought it. Artisan. They got absorbed by Lionsgate, and then Lionsgate put the film in turnaround. It was the same time that Jamie Foxx had done the Tookie Williams story. So Jamie got out right before we did, but the project never got made. But it's a great story, and Mike has an incredible story, Mike Concepcion, and I just felt blessed to have the opportunity to write my first film.
I heard even though he's in a wheelchair, he's still a stand-up gentleman.
Mike's
he's
incredible.
A very stand-up gentleman, I heard.
Mike is a smart guy, sharp guy. He's probably the smartest person I've ever met. He's just really incredible guy. I got to really know him for 18 months, and it was a privilege, and I consider him a friend.
He's a very brilliant businessman as well.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize he actually is Dr. Dre and Death Row Records will let you know about Mike Concepcion.
Mike's the man. Mike's the man.
He's a great businessman. He's involved in a lot of things that people never realize, and I guess we'll just keep it like that for right now. But shout out to Shiana also that was working with Mike Concepcion. Yeah,
he's a pretty incredible guy, and a funny guy. A lot of people know he has a great sense of humor. Funny guy. You wouldn't think so, but he's a very funny guy.
It's Thermal Soundwaves here on WHCR 90.3 FM in New York. We're talking to screenwriter, of course, by the name of Mike Ajakwe here on the program. Would you, even though it didn't get put out, would you want to, in the future, still have the Crip story on the big screen and some of your other plays as well on the big screen?
I think this Crip story Mike's story in particular, because his story is unique. It's a real unique story, and story. I think, I like movies where they're exciting and they're well done, but you can learn something, and you can learn a lot from Mike's stories. There's a great lesson in his story, and I love stories like that have that redeeming quality, where they kind of take you in a place that you don't expect. And I like to get some of my plays eventually. Happy Anniversary Punk. I have a film version of that I'd like to get out there, because look, let's face it, as bad as you hear about Columbine and all these horrible stories that happen in suburban white communities, it's nothing compared to the carnage that's happened in the black community, and with gang violence and just the violence that I can remember just growing up in L.A. It's so routine, happens so much that half the time it doesn't even make the news.
Every day.
It's just like, it happens every day. Kids getting killed for stupid reasons, and I really think that we need a film that deals with that, and to show these kids that there's another way, that killing each other is not the way. No one wins when you do that. You don't win. That's not the answer.
Definitely, absolutely. Now, you're also the first to start the only web series. It used to be in the world, but you're doing one overseas. So now it's the only one in America, but not in the world anymore. And that's the first web series festival.
Yeah, sometimes when I look at my bio, I'm actually surprised that I've done it. I think you think I'm 80 years old, but I started a web series festival. The web series is huge. It is
You're breaking up a little bit, Mike. Mike, you're breaking up a little bit.
Are making shows, shows for the web. They're not 30-minute shows. They're more 3, 6, 9, 12-minute shows, and they're sharing them online. And some of these shows are really good, are excellent.
Mike, can you repeat that one more time, because you broke up a little bit in there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a phenomenon going on right now called the web series, and these are shows that are made online by regular people. Some of these people are professionals like myself. I have a web series called Who on Ajakwe TV, which is my web channel. But then there are people who, let's say, there are a lot of people that studied film, for example, or television, and they couldn't break in the business. They couldn't get a job, so they took a regular job and we're doing something else. And then here comes this, the price of the cameras, of these incredible cameras, have come down to where the average consumer can get a camera. The average Joe can get a nice camera that's broadcast quality. Editing, which used to be very elitist, you had to have a lot of money to get something edited. Now with Final Cut Pro, they made editing systems where you could have it in your house on your computer. And so you have these people. The web series is a second chance for people to get back into the game and show, hey, I still have it. I can create a good story. I can direct. I can act. I can do all four. And so these shows are being done all over the country, all over the world. And what I did is I kept saying somebody needs to get all these people together. It's like underground. It reminds me of rap music 25, 30 years ago, where you had to be in the know to know rap because they weren't playing it on the radio, really. And so the same thing with the web series. It's not on TV. It's not in the movies. So you kind of have to be in the know to know what's going on, this underground movement. And so I started this thing really with no money last year. We had a lot of people come out. We showed 50 shows. We honored 3 people, including Robert Townsend. This year I did it the LA Web Fest, which is www.lawebfest.com. We did it this year. We showed 121 shows. We had 19 different states represented. We had 8 different countries: India, England, France, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, of course, America. We had just so many different countries, people coming out of everywhere, all kind of places who were doing shows, really good shows. Canada's doing incredible stuff on the web. And so anyway, what happened was last year after I did the first festival, I got an email from a gentleman, a producer named Jean-Michel Albert in France, in Paris, France. He all the way in France, he was looking to do a festival, and he couldn't find anything in Europe. He checked out America. There was one place, L.A. There was a festival in L.A., and he contacted a friend of his she's a producer, executive, and we happened to know each other. And she said, "Oh, I know this guy, Mike." And so she connected us. Her name is Kathy Fonguneda. And Kathy connected Jean-Michel and I, and we began talking about doing this in Europe. And he got the city of Marseille, France, to get behind him. He and his partner, Stéphane Risseau, who's a cultural minister for the mayor of Marseille. And they started this festival in October. It's happening October 14th to the 16th in Marseille, France. I'll be there. They came here. A delegation of them came to L.A. in March for my festival. We honored them with the city of Marseille and Jean-Michel and Stéphane. They received awards, and they selected 11 shows from my festival, the LA Web Fest, to take to France. All expenses paid. They're taking them to France, and they're showcasing their work to an international audience in October. So,
wow, that's big. That's huge.
So it's it's a beautiful thing, and it feels good to be a part of something positive like this. And again, I'm not rich, I'm not a millionaire, and but you don't have to be a millionaire to start something. You just have to have a dream and a vision, and just go for it. And God opens up the other doors.
You was also given the key to the city or something like that, right?
I was given the key to the city.
I know you was awarded with something like a lot of it wasn't the key to the city. I know you did something.
I received something from the city of Inglewood. City of Inglewood, they celebrated their centennial in 2008, and they honored Mary. I didn't even know they were from Inglewood, California. They honored John
Mary's from Inglewood. Is
Mary
that why they had
Inglewood.
that song "I'm Walking"? Like on some gang skip.
They from the wood.
They from the wood. I didn't know Mary from Inglewood. They from the wood.
I didn't know they were from the wood either. I had no idea until I got there. And then they honored me. I thought they were honoring other people who had done stuff from Inglewood, but they only honored 3 people. They honored John Singleton, Mary, and myself. And I was really stunned. I almost went in a sweatsuit. I thought it was so. I almost went in a sweatsuit. That's how I thought this was no big deal. And to hear all these people, and the city councilman, and Maxine Waters, and the mayor, I was stunned. I was very, very humbled and very honored because there's so many wonderful people that have come out of Inglewood. Byron Scott, Eldon Campbell, Tom Baylor, who wrote Michael Jackson's song "She's Out of My Life." The fact that they chose the 3 of us was a real honor, and I still just. I'm very humbled by that experience.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Skip.
Well, if Maxine Waters was involved, then she definitely knows what's going on.
Yeah, Maxine Waters.
She blows the lids off for everything.
She there.
She's the one that let everybody know that listen, the U.S. was moving them things.
Hello, my name is Maxine
they were
Waters.
moving them things
and,
with the best of them.
I'm running for president, but I don't trust the government.
Yeah, she was
okay, like, you're done.
Like Noriega and all them was down with Bush. They was moving that white girl.
She was there. I'm telling you about that white girl. I'm gonna tell you about that white girl.
But in all seriousness,
shout out to Maxine Waters. She was real.
Big
in
ups,
early years, she was real.
Big ups to Miss Maxine Waters,
yes.
Because without her, the people would not really know the truth about what's going on with this government.
Those are times that was crazy times
that they did, especially with Iran Contra, and what they did with Panama and all the people there that they killed.
Hi, my name is Maxine Waters, and Pineapple Face ain't really that bad in Panama. You need to watch for Oliver North. Okay, my name's Maxine Waters, and I run for president.
It's all on the payroll. All on the payroll.
No, I'm a Maxine Waters fan. I'm a fan. She's from Los Angeles, so. And her husband is a former football player. A lot of people don't know he played on the Cleveland Browns with Jim Brown. So.
What's his name?
Sidney Williams.
Sidney Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
But she kept that Waters because that water. Okay, she kept
so
that E40 water. She kept that water.
She comes from that era where people weren't scared.
If you got problems with me, I'm gonna tell my husband.
She's a really tough lady. I knew that. I knew at some point they would try to, as they're doing now, trying to say that she, they're trying to say that she allocated funds.
Oh yeah,
they always do that.
Misappropriated funds.
I don't believe that's the case.
Where did the funds go?
But yeah, the biggest Go
she
ahead.
was trying to make sure that the money that was being dispersed went to black banks as well, small black banks, and her husband happened to be one of the investors in One United, which is a black-owned bank in L.A. But she was fighting for small banks, period. So it's I believe when all is said and done, she'll be exonerated. It's, anything to like you said, she's old school. She just doesn't care. She doesn't care if you like her. She will stand up for what's right.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
I got the same hairdo since '83. Okay,
same hairdo. I respect her to the fullest. For what she done and what she continues to do.
And
for
real. Also, see, speaking of football players, you also written a story, correct, or a film about the first black football player?
Yeah, I wrote a movie about Doug Williams. We're trying to get it made, and fortunately, we haven't been successful. Yeah, that was one of my dreams. I did write his film, but again, it's really hard. I wrote a movie about Doug Williams, Kurt Flood. HBO just did a documentary about Kurt, and I wrote a movie about him. I'm working with his widow. the great Judy Pace, award-winning actress, and so Judy and I have been working diligently trying to get this film made, and I wrote a script a couple of years ago, so we're trying to see if this movie is going to help us, get it done. And I wrote a movie. I was working on a film at one point about John Lucas, so I love writing. There's so many great stories about African American heroes that it's not that they're not being written. It's just that it's hard to get them made. The studios aren't. We don't always have the same agenda.
Oh, of course, of course.
You know what? Make him look like this, and make the story like that. Yeah.
It's like, do we make a movie about Doug Williams or about some gangsters?
Doug Flutie.
Some guys, brothers shooting each other. Let's go with the action. So,
exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's a little more than just action. Let's go with the action. But we all know what that means.
We definitely got to give a shout to Fred Man for putting this all together. Shout to you, Fred Man.
Oh, yeah, Fred. Fred is the man. Fred Boateng is the man. If not for him, we wouldn't be talking.
Yes, big ups to him, of course. Always getting us in. Now,
and congratulations to your show too. I had a chance to listen to some of it, man. And you guys had me cracking up. And
any particular shows you like?
Yeah, this is my first experience, but it won't be the last.
Oh, absolutely not, because you're part of the fam. So we definitely gonna link up with you and when we go out there, because we always go out to Cali.
We coming out there to Cali.
We're gonna
skip
pay you a little visit.
Oh, cool. I'm sorry. Troy Carter is Eve's manager.
You finally remember
Troy Carter. Wow. Okay.
He now manages Lady Gaga. All this big success you see Lady Gaga having, Troy Carter is responsible. He's a big part of her team. So I couldn't remember his first name, but his name is Troy Carter.
So it's not Akon then.
There you go.
No, it's not Akon. Troy Carter is he's the mastermind. He's if you look at that, remember that I think was that at the Grammys where the guy came through the if you look at the one Kanye West took Taylor Swift's Grammy.
Yeah.
And Beyonce, and he said Beyonce should have, and you see Beyonce and Jay-Z look at him like he's crazy.
Right.
Well, if you look at that shot, there's a guy sitting right over Beyonce's shoulder. That's Troy Carter.
Okay. All right.
That's Lady Gaga's manager.
That's the other Carter.
Good guy.
The Carter behind the Carter.
The Carter faculty.
No doubt. Now, with your web series that took place this year, was one of the winners this year the 12-step series?
Yes, 12 Steps to Recovery. Tony Cormack
yes.
and Emmeline Stewart.
Yes.
Their show won for Outstanding Comedy, and it won for music, I know, and I believe for writing as well. It's a really good web series. And one thing that we do at my festival, because it's new media, I don't feel like I have to follow the same rules that traditional media follows, Emmys or whatever award shows. In other words, normally there's only one winner, and in my festival, if there are 2 or 3 or 5 shows or 8 shows that we feel are deserving, we recognize them.
They all get it.
Everybody counts.
You're like Oprah. You all get a call.
Yeah. I mean, everybody doesn't, but
look under your seats, guys.
We don't limit it to one, and so that way the love is able to be spread around. Because
you get a call.
Exactly.
I've never felt that one.
Harper.
There's no reason why there has to be just one. If you've got 80 comedies, or why can't you recognize 10 or 8 or 5? Why must there one guy be the best? And when it's all subjective anyway. But Tony's show was very well done, and Tony and Emmeline's show is very well done, and he's a good guy, and they're very enterprising and very dynamic. I'm happy for them.
The reason I bring that up is 2 of the actors in there are our people. Literally,
really?
Like they're our people. That's fam. That's fam in those.
Wow.
In that piece
is on fire right now, son.
That's my dude Caliber. Who played the lead.
Caliber Doge.
Oh, yeah, he's very talented. He's funny.
Caliber, you know what I mean? That's our dude
up.
right there, Long Island, you know what I mean? And, of course, our other brother,
who's that?
Stephen Hill.
The actor Stephen Hill.
Stephen Hill. That's our people.
Yes.
That's our people.
Stephen is the one in the show that sets him up on all those dates. He's the one. He's the matchmaker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's our people's. Like, we go back.
He looked like David Banner.
We go back.
I met Stephen in Virginia a couple of years ago. I was part of the Mid-Atlantic Black Film Festival, and Stephen came out with some people from New York. And I think he's on some show on HBO. There's some HBO show as well.
I can't keep up with Steve.
I thought he was on some, but he's very talented. I've seen him in several things. He's a very talented guy.
He does a lot of things. I had class with him one time. I was like, oh man, I gotta go after this guy. All right, damn.
Stephen Hill is very talented.
No, but see, I think Mike is forgetting another film that he wrote. The film about the the radio boys, C.Truth, Kev Lawrence. Because, you know, we are actor extraordinaires. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's the plug-in right there, see? I went for the kill.
That's what I'm saying, you know.
Hey, I've never seen a movie about two radio guys. Definitely not two African American radio guys.
Hey,
But,
there
that
you
could
go.
Be, it could be something.
I'm brown skinned.
Well, listen, when we come out to LA, and we will be out there in a few months.
In my slippers.
We sit down, we talk about, you know, this particular venture.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about, you know, the whole shebang and where we're going to get the money from, and
take your money.
Who's going to pay me my $1 million?
Exactly.
We'll take your money.
Lunch on
I'll give you guys a discount though. I don't always charge $1 million.
I see. Give us a hometown discount. That's what
Co-starring Fred Man.
Hometown
Give you
discount.
the New York special.
And there you go. Exactly.
And also co-starring Miss Maxine Waters.
Co-star exactly. Give her a cameo.
Yeah, she could play our mama.
And she gotta have the same hairdo.
There you go. She could play our mama. You know, when we get in trouble, we gotta, you know, go home and face Miss Waters.
The U.S. government are bad people. I am Maxine Waters, and I'm running for president.
They are moving crack in the country.
The CIA is going to protect her. The FOI, that's going to be her protection. She's changing the game. She doesn't trust the CIA. She doesn't trust the government. She trusts the nation.
It's Thermal Soundwaves here on WHCR 90.3 FM here in New York. And we're talking to Mr. Mike Ajakwe, extraordinaire screenwriter, award-winning, of course.
You nailed it, C.
Now, when we talk about awards, you know, you're not anybody until you've won the Thermal Award. We have our own awards as well.
Emmy is one thing.
We do that at the end of the year, every year. We've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years now.
We'll let you know if you can.
And if you want to see some of the past winners, it's on the site, thermalsoundwaves.com. Just look under awards. And you'll see some of the awards that we have on it there. You know,
right now.
And like you, Mike, we do them based on what we feel should win, and we have our own categories, you know.
Such as, well, I guess I got to check out the site.
Yeah, you got to see it.
You
got to see it. Yes,
you
exactly.
are. You need to. Okay. Question: how do you feel about Ricky Ross, the real Ricky Ross, with his film? That's already in the works, I believe.
You know, I can't wait to see his film because I just heard so many things about him. You know, he's like an urban legend, and the things that he did back in the '80s, you know, before he, you know, went away. But I can't wait to see his film. You know, I'm a big fan of the American Gangster series that was on BT. That's now on the Biography channel. It's no longer on BT. They have it on Biography now. It's mainstream. Those shows are. You can't stop watching those shows, man. That stuff is like a drug itself.
Ving Rhames, narrator.
Ving Rhames, exactly. Ving Rhames is a great narrator. So, you know, it's I'm definitely not advocating crime, and I don't encourage it. A lot of these guys, like when you watch American Gangster, even a Rick Ross, these guys, they could have been CEOs of major companies or whatever.
Mastermind.
They're brilliant guys. I mean, these guys are not dumb. You do not rise to that level being an idiot. And these guys are really, really smart. And so it's always fascinating to see how they came to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
As a screenwriter, you know, a lot of people feel like they could write stories. Is there a big difference from writing a story for a book and writing for a movie?
Well, it's funny you say that because any friend of mine that's a writer that does this for a living will know that, first of all, everybody thinks they're a writer. And people will call you and say, hey, man, I have this idea. You know, I got it all figured out. I just need a writer. As if the idea was the hard part and the writing's the easy part. But, of course, if it was so easy, they would be writing it. But, no, there is a difference because all of them, writing is like one umbrella. It's like one, and then under that umbrella you have different disciplines. You have novel writing, you have nonfiction writing, you have screenwriting, you have television writing, playwriting, journalism, and they all have web series writing. They all have their own rules. And somebody might be a good novelist, but he can't write a screenplay. He can write a screenplay, he can't write a television script. He can write a television script, he can't write a play. Some people can do 2 or 3, but most people can probably do 1 or 2. So, because you have to really take the time to master that form of writing, that kind of thing. So, yeah, there's definitely a difference. And, like novelists, I mean, you crack open Harry Potter, man, that woman is, J.K. Rowling is doing some writing.
She was on welfare at one point, right?
She was on welfare. Everybody turned down her books. Nobody wanted to publish her book. She found a small publisher and published it, and she got rich and they got rich.
Oh, they did get rich, right?
Oh, yeah. So she's got it. So novel writing is no joke. I have a lot of respect for novel writers. My mentor, Bruce McAllister, is a novel writer. He's a science fiction writer, and that's serious writing. But then screenwriting, you're not writing as many words, but then that's a craft in and of itself, writing more visually, where you're writing so a person can read it and see it, really see it like you're seeing a film, but then you can't direct it. You don't want to write so much that you're doing the director's job. So that's an art in and of itself, because you're showing, not telling. Whereas novel writing, you can tell what the person's thinking, what's in their head, and you describe the building and what it looked like and what the atmosphere smelled like. You're not doing that with a screenplay. And television writing is a lot of people underestimate the power of good TV writing, because you're setting up a story and telling the story in 35, 40 pages. That's a structure and craft. And those shows that are done really well, that's a lot of screenwriters they can't write television. They have trouble with it. But some television writers, they can't write screenplays. They can't sustain that structure for 100, 120 pages. They can do it for 60 pages for a drama or 40 pages for a comedy, that kind of thing. So they all require their own. You got to respect them all. Journalism, that's another. Playwriting, that's totally different. That's a lot of all the other writers. They can't write a play.
Let's get a station idea real quick.
Exactly. It's WACR 90.3 FM New York, coming to you live and direct from Harlem.
WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was Ving Rhames. Was that Ving Rhames?
I was going to say, I thought Ving Rhames in the studio.
I think so. Now, out of
from Harlem,
all the TV shows you've done and all the different stars that you've worked with, who was the ones that really surprised you the most? Like you really didn't expect that from them, either good or bad. They just. Oh,
that's easy. That's easy for me. It's Martin. Martin Lawrence is he's an incredible dude, man. We're the same age, and I actually knew Martin, had met him. We weren't boys, but I knew him socially before he was famous. And when he had the show, he was responsible for 150 people. I mean, he's the star of the show. He's also a producer on the show. And he made sure that show was diverse. The writing staff was diverse. He gave a lot of other comedians opportunities, like Hustle Man, Tracy Morgan,
yeah,
like the Fat Doctor, like Reginald Ballard, Brother Man, and a lot. He didn't like giving Sherman Hemsley. He was the kind of guy, he wouldn't give you money. He didn't like giving people money. Rather than give you money if you needed a break, he'd rather give you an opportunity, so then you could use that opportunity and make more money. It wouldn't stop with, when you give somebody something, it ends there. But if you put them in a position to shine, then they can get other work, and that's what he did. I mean, there was one year we had 3 people on our show, and they all got on the show. Sherman Hemsley, Dorian Wilson, who was Professor Ogilvy on the Parkers, and another sister named Alex Thatcher, who was in Pastor 57. They were all on the show they were all on the show called Good Behavior. They all had great roles on our show on Martin. But he was also very dynamic and courageous. He wasn't afraid to put his foot down if he felt something wasn't being done right with his show, which had his name on it in his face. And he had a lot of courage, and I've always admired people with courage. And he had a lot of courage. He didn't care if you didn't like him, if he felt he was doing the right thing. And he helped a lot of people. I mean, people that did Martin went on to do the Jamie Foxx show. Bentley Evans, who has now created Love That Girl, and set me on a path to keep working. And a lot of us went. Jackie Edmonds, who does Let's Stay Together on BET, and she's now doing Read Between the Lines. She came from Martin. She was one of our producers. John Ridley, who wrote that new movie Red Tails that George Lucas is making. He did Undercover Brother, the movie. He was a Martin guy.
Wait a minute. Red Tails is about the Tuskegee Airmen?
Yeah.
That's with Michael B. Jordan. That's in it, our boy.
And Marcus Pope.
Yes.
The writer's name is John Ridley. He worked on Martin. He started on Martin. That was his first show.
Look at that.
So a lot of people, you look at a lot of people that are doing great things. They normally come from a great well. There's, all shows, period, of, great style. Mozart, for example, he was mentored by Beethoven. Beethoven taught him when he was a kid. A lot of people don't know that. Leonardo da Vinci taught Michelangelo. He was his mentor. So these people just don't fall out of the sky. A lot of times they come from great stock. So Martin, that shop that we had at Martin was a shop. I didn't even realize at the time I knew how much fun I was having. It's the funnest show I've ever worked for. Eve was the most special show because one of my best friends created the show, Make the Lowe's. Martin was the most fun I've ever had, and it felt like I wasn't going to work. And he was our leader. Martin Lawrence was our leader, and I just gained so much respect for him. And we used to have back then, let me just show you how tough Martin was. Will Smith used to come to our show with Jada Pinkett. They'd come to our show sometime and sit and watch how Martin ran things. people would come and watch how, because Martin ran the show. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't, And like I said, I mean, it takes a special person to stand up, even if, because when you do that, some people may not like you. But to me, if you know you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. And he helped a lot of people, a lot of black people especially, and I'll always have respect for him. He's a big part of Love That Girl. He's one of our exec producers. So
and that's what I was going to go to. I was going to go to that. With you being on the Martin show, what happened on the Martin set so for it to end? With,
there
Martin
was
and,
that.
Tichina Campbell.
There was that incident that people, I wasn't, privy to that. I was at the show at the time, but I didn't see what happened. But it was unfortunate. But
what happened? Let everybody know what happened.
Well, allegedly, she accused him of sexual harassment, allegedly. But that was never proven. I know it never went to court. So, but I never saw any sexual harassment on the set. It was a happy set, and everybody loved each other. We was like a family. So I was as surprised as anybody else, and it was unfortunate to end that way. But the show remains popular. I mean, you see the whole new generation of kids discovering Martin. But the shows that have come out in the last 20 years, the shows that I keep hearing over and over again is Martin. People act like the show's still on TV.
It is still on TV.
It is.
MTV2 picked it up.
It's on TV. Like you said, people are seeing it for the first time. It's actually just came out yesterday.
And it's still relevant.
It is on TV.
It's still relevant, and I don't see that with any other show any other black show, definitely, where there's that kind of excitement. And I mean, it really it touches me, and I'm happy because we really did go out of our way to try to make people entertain people, and I'm very proud of the time I spent on Martin. I learned so much, and made some good friends who I'm still friends. Almost all the writers. I'm still friends with all the writers from the show when we see each other.
What about Tichina Arnold?
Oh, yeah, I love Tichina. I'm so glad that she's been able to show how talented she is. She's so talented, Tichina. That whole cast, I mean, Tichina, Atisha is talented. Tommy Ford is very super talented.
Ain't got no job, Tommy.
Big Tommy. We still don't know what he does.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know what he was doing on the New York Undercover, but that's another story.
Yeah, New York Undercover, that was they were trying to. I liked him on the show. I just caught. I catch New York Undercover comes on in L.A. at 5:00 in the morning, and I'm up sometimes writing.
New York Undercover comes on in L.A. 5:00 in the morning.
That's and I catch it because I'm up sometimes. And I just saw Tommy's episodes for the first time, and he added some spice to the show. He definitely shook it up and made it different. But he's very talented. He's still a good friend of mine.
No, but in shows like that, also people are discovering that for the first time as well.
That was a great show. That show,
very great show.
New York Undercover was a great show.
Yeah, that was trailblazing show. For, the first Black and Latino leads.
Yes.
Like in your face every week.
The stories were great, and the music. I love how. It opened with the music. Every episode opened with the music. No dialogue. It was all the music, and it was just brilliant.
Current music, hip hop music, rap music.
And it was ended at that nightclub. Was it Two Eyes? I used to be down on 14th Street.
Yes.
I used to be in there at the end, like having a drink or whatever. That was a famous spot.
Great show.
Yeah, they were the hip hop cops. They were the new Miami Vice.
Exactly. Eddie Torres. But anyway,
he came from the Michael Jackson video.
Now, and those brothers came a long way too from where they started.
He was in the Michael Jackson video. I remember him seeing him.
Yeah, he was a dancer.
I'm back.
Yeah, that was
Wesley Snipes.
Michael De Lorenzo.
I'm back.
He was in there with Wesley Snipes.
Yes, he was. He's very talented. I think he went to Juilliard.
My ex-wife was in New York Undercover. She
really?
was lieutenant. I love her. Oh my gosh.
What's her name? What's her?
I forgot her name, but she was Demilo. She was
Gloria Velez.
Yes, Gloria Velez.
I love. That's your ex-wife?
Not Gloria. My bad.
No,
Lauren
Velez.
Lauren Velez.
Lauren Velez.
Shout out to you, though.
She is very talented.
Lauren Velez. Oh, she's talented in so many ways.
She's super talented. I'm glad because she was also on Oz.
Yeah,
yes, she was.
Yeah.
I felt emotional when she got touched.
They did her wrong in Oz, though.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
So
but she was. I mean, everything I see her in, she's great. I once saw her in a movie theater about 3 years ago. I saw her at the movies at the Grove here in L.A. And I walked up to her and told her. And I had just seen her on stage. She was in a play called Intimate Apparel that Viola Davis was in, and I'd just seen her on stage. But she's very. I've never seen her bad in anything.
So frito.
That's my ex-wife. She doesn't know yet, but that's.
I like it like
she
that.
doesn't even know it, but.
Well, hey man, you may want to try to get back with her, man, because she got mad talent.
No, I'm trying to marry her first and ex-wife.
Now, real quick before we let you go, Mike. What is it like working with the new show? You know, Love That Girl with Tatyana
Oh,
Ali,
Love
Phil
That Girl,
Morris,
man,
and the whole crew and them.
Well, first of all, the way that show was done, a lot of people don't know, that show was done independently. Bentley Evans, who gave me my first break as a television writer, he had a vision for this show. He said he'd had it for years. He got his family, sister, they're like the Wayans. The Evans are like the Wayans brothers, the black Wayans when it comes to writers, because his brother's a writer, Lamont, his nephew, Niall, is a writer, his sister is a very dear friend of mine, Stacey Evans Morgan. She's a writer, producer. She was on the Parkers the whole run. And they wrote these scripts, and they got another very successful producer, Jeff Franklin, who created Full House with the Olsen twins and made a gazillion dollars. And he created Hang on Mr. Cooper, and Malcolm and Eddie. Got him on board, got Martin on board, got Raphael Siddiqui on board, who's a good friend of Bentley's from back in the day. And we shot it in a warehouse, in Raphael's warehouse in Burbank. We shot 4 episodes independently. They had no distributor. They didn't know what was going to happen with the show. He called me up and said, "Hey, Mike, we're doing this. You want to be a part of it?" I said, "Of course." There was we did not get paid. There was no money involved at that time for those 4 episodes, but it didn't matter because, I felt like I knew if Bentley was doing it, I knew it was going to be successful. I just knew it. I said, if he wouldn't do this, Martin wouldn't put his name on this, and Jeff Franklin, if they weren't trying to win, hit a home run. And so when TV One picked up the show 6 months later, the show was on TV One. It's crazy. And then the numbers did well, and people seeing Tatyana for the first time grown up, and Phil Morris, who's a very dear friend of mine.
Right. She's grown.
Phil from Seinfeld, who was Jackie Childs. Kramer's lawyer.
Jack Childs.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Oh, Phil has been acting. I mean, his father was on Mission Impossible, one of the first black TV stars, and he was in my play, one of my plays. He was in a play I wrote about O.J. Simpson. He played O.J.
He also in Black Dynamite.
Yeah, he was exactly. So Phil was in the show, and so the show, man, it's just to witness it, to be a witness to this success of Love That Girl, man. I can't tell you. I don't think anything has ever inspired me more in television than watching what Bentley Evans and his family have done with this show. And it's just beautiful. And talk about doing for self, picking yourself up by your bootstraps and making it happen. At a time when there are no black shows, the networks have fallen out of love with us, with telling stories with black or anybody who's not white as lead. It's just crazy. We have a black president, but we don't have a single show on television about a black family or an Asian American family or a Latino family or whatever, and it's sad. But
so
Bentley,
how is Hollywood for you right now?
Pardon me?
How is Hollywood looking right now? For people that don't live around there, how is Hollywood?
I'm doing okay. I'm fine. I've been blessed. I think because I can do different things, because I can, I work on Unsung. I'm a writer, producer on that show. I'm a writer on Love That Girl. I'm working. A lot of people aren't working. They should be working. A lot of people of color aren't working. They should be working, because what happens is when the black shows aren't there, when the George Lopez and the Jamie Foxx and these shows aren't on, black writers and producers don't work. I mean, they just don't. And so you have a few that are working here and there, but a lot of people are on the bench, and they should be working because they're talented. But what Bentley's doing, what Tyler Perry's doing, even, I have issues with Tyler Perry, but overall I think what he's doing is positive. I don't care what anybody says. He's doing, he's his own man, and he's making things happen and giving people opportunities regardless of the other stuff. And what what the Ice Cube is doing with Are We There Yet? He and Ali Leroy are doing with that show. It's good. I mean, these people are finding a way to get on television, even if it's cable, even if it's in a smaller network, even if the budgets are smaller. We're still on, and it's giving people hope. And you're seeing it started with Tyler Perry, and then Love That Girl. I mean, then Are We There Yet? Then Love That Girl. And T.D. Jakes has a joint that he did that I hear is going to be coming out soon called One Love that I also worked on. And you'll see more of these shows. But we Hollywood is not feeling us right now in movies and television, but there's still a way. It's not the end of the world. And sometimes, as you know, when somebody shuts the door in your face, it's an opportunity for you to open another door. And maybe this time you have more control and more, you have more control or whatever. You're better for it. And I think for those who are able to get on television, like Bentley Evans and Love That Girl, like Tyler Perry, like Ali Leroy and Ice Cube, I think they're better for it. They have a lot more control over the product. So,
Absolutely, and you'll be a lot better for it when you have control of our product when we come and talk to you.
I will. That's when my life is going to change. I can't wait.
Exactly.
I
Let
can't
me
put
know
my
when you
feet
get
up
to
in your
LA.
house and eat the food in your
yes.
fridge.
I'm clearing
I
out my
cannot
schedule.
wait.
I may even quit one of my jobs.
Last week in September.
Okay. Well, I won't quit the job yet, but I will be
Eating the
available.
food out of your fridge.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
That's how we
You
do.
two will be welcome. You will
my
definitely
God, my house, your house. We take that seriously.
And we do it all too. We don't just want to be the stars. Like we can do everything from PA to front, behind the camera, like all that. Like
Good,
we
because
do the whole thing.
we're gonna need people to move cameras and do craft service because we're gonna be working on a very limited budget.
Yeah, being in a dressing room with women, I'll do that. I'll take care of that.
Wardrobe, stylist, and all that. We do it all.
I'll put the clothes on,
That's
take
what I
clothes
like.
off, all that.
Exactly.
We're saving a lot of money right there already.
Oh, yeah.
The budget's been
Hey,
slashed
look, that's
in half
what we
right
do.
there.
Because
right there.
we get it on the back end.
Budget
Exactly. We're gonna get it later.
Exactly. Residual.
You guys do music too? Can anybody play an instrument?
We can do that too.
All right,
She
so
can
that'll
play
save on the
instrument.
soundtrack.
We got some drums and we got connections to music anyway from radio. So we could get music. We got access to that.
So then we don't need Raphael Siddiqui. We can tell him to go home.
We got Fred Man. How about that?
I mean, I mean, we could still have Raphael do a couple things, just to make him happy though.
I'm letting him know it rains sometimes in Southern California.
Because that brother's talented, so we don't want to leave him totally out. You know.
Oh,
what I mean?
he's very talented.
Yes.
Super talented.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, listen, man, we gonna let you go and get back to your busy schedule because I know you're always working even when you're not working. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
I have a script due tomorrow for Love That Girl. We just got picked up for a third season.
Beautiful.
And my script is due
Congrats.
tomorrow, but even that script couldn't stop me from talking to Kev and C.Truth. So.
Exactly. Look, are you guys already started? Have you started shooting the episodes?
Not yet, but we have started writing. The writing process has started, and we'll start shooting in a few weeks. But we got some exciting shows. I'm really happy about my episode, and we got some big surprises for the audience. Just like Unsung, the same with Unsung. We just started season 4, and we just picked up 3 new shows. I think Atlantic Star, Ray Parker Jr.
Nice.
I forget who the third person is. But,
Hey, we would love to be on one of those talking about some of those people also, because we know our history, and we just want to be involved. So we'll see you in September.
for sure.
Keep that fridge on full.
We do studio audience also, so when you're shooting to Love That Girl, we love.
Oh, good. We need laughers. We need people to laugh.
Hey,
especially if it's funny, we want you to make it really funny. So.
Absolutely. I can do the
Yeah.
Tom Willis laugh.
I have a
good.
I have a
Tom
laughing
Willis is
meter.
great.
I have a laughing meter. You pay by laughing meter how far I go up.
We need to have one of you, just if you don't mind, since you're very, very open. Just when you laugh, we may need you at some point to actually roll out of your seat and roll about 6 feet and then roll back. To your seat.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
We'll get that on camera.
That's called a
See, that's
stuntman charge.
yeah, that's
Audience loves
stunts.
that.
See,
That's called
stunts.
a stuntman charge.
We
That's
do
extra.
stunts
It
too.
is stunts, so it's a little extra money. But
I got my cane.
we got you.
All right, that's what we're talking about. Well, listen, man, everybody, make sure you support Mike Ajakwe. Tell them the site for the TV and the web series and your web series that you got.
The web series is Web Series Festival, www.lawebfest.com. Wherever at the end of March 2012. If you have a web series, submit it. We're open to everybody. You have a shot. If it's good, you have a shot. The other one is my web series is Who, which is at www.ajakwetv, AJAKWE, ajakwetv.com, or on your phone is www.ajakwetv.com/mobile, and that's AJAKWE, Ajakwe TV.
Definitely. Thank you very much for being on the program and supporting. We appreciate that, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you having me on. I'm honored to be on your show. You guys could have got anybody on the show, and you asked me, and I'm very grateful.
Absolutely.
Same here, brother.
Definitely. And we'll see you in September.
Yes, you will.
All right. Have a good night, brother.
All right, brother. You too.
All right. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio.
Thermal sound waves, y'all. They hot.